This is Dirk with the 440th VFW, showing a quick demonstration on the Kotar Range for IQT-4. I've got the IQT-4 TE started up, clock stop. I've selected the Oka strike. I'm in the lead seat. I'm going to go to the loadout. I'm going to change the loadout so that it's BDU 33s all the way across on all 4 stations. And I can put 6 per station if I just keep clicking on it. First 3 will be green dots on the station indicating 3 are loaded. If you click it again, small black dots will show up on the inside of that. Now I've got 6 per station loaded. Hit OK on that. I'm also going to change to steer point 2 and just drag it straight north until it's right across from steer point 8. So when the flight fast forwards, I'm going to drop into the seat at steer 2, turn over to steer 8, and then come south into the Kotar Range. So I want to click dance, save the DTC. That's all I need for now. Commit. Not yet. Fast forward. 64. And once the flight gets almost to steer point 2, I'm going to select the 1.
All right,
And double check the debriefing. You'll see this is second flight of the package. So the Victor is going to be 1-6 on this one. So let's do another click and commit. Once I'm in the seat, first thing I want to do is get rid of my AI. Since it's a practice round, we don't want him in the way. So I got to go over to Victor 1-6, give him a call, and aboard him. Send him RTB.
2, we're RTB.
Alrighty. I'm going to turn to steer point 8, throttle back a little, give us enough time to get fenced in. All right, now that I'm direct for steer 8, about 30 miles out, throw the autopilot on, let it take me there. Good altitude, around 14,000 feet for now. Pull the throttle back just so we can have time to get set up. First thing I want to do is get fenced in. So arm it up, put it in ground mode. Over on the weapons page, we've got 24 BDU, or sorry, stores management page, 24 BDU, 33s loaded. For now, we'll just leave all of the defaults set, and I'm going to set it to pair release. So on our first run in at Kotar, we're going to do a single release, but it'll be a pair of BDU 33s on a target, and then we'll enter into the pattern for the events. First event we'll do is the 30-degree event, then we'll do the 20-degree event. Be 3 releases for each event. And on the IQT flight, we'll just release a single BDU. So for now, switch back over to the HSD. If I leave my heading direct for steer 8, I can still move up and select steer 9 to see the Kotar Range is off to the right now, 26 miles. One thing we need to do before we get there is to get our altimeter set correctly. So if we bring up uniform 233.8, it'll give us Kotar Range. We could do the T commands and get the QNH. So number 1, request QNH.
Mudhand 41, QNH 2988.
2988 on the altimeter. 2988 is already preset. So we're all set there. Next thing I want to do is come over on the right side. I've got the FCR on the left side, but I can put the TGP over here on the right side. We're getting into ground mode. And at steer point 9, if I zoom in, I got a mountain in the way, but as soon as we clear that mountain, we'll be able to see targets at the Kotar. And then what we'll do is we'll mark one of those targets as a mark point. Now we've got a reference on what to release on. So if I do the TGP zoom in, I could see here's the gunnery targets down on the south end. Just north of that are 5 bullseye type targets, and that's what we're looking for there. When we get a little bit closer, we'll be able to see them better. In the meantime, we can start getting set up for the couple other things we need to check. The 30-degree event, it has a minimum release altitude of 4,300 feet, but it has a correction. The 4,300 feet is the foul line. The minimum release is 5,600 feet. So I can take on my ALO page on the DET, I can take the MSL floor and dial in 5,600. And that'll give me an aural warning when I hit the minimum release. As soon as that warning goes off, I'll come off the pickle, start into my escaping maneuver, and it's time to fly away. Go back into the pattern and try it again, come off dry. Alright, so if I turn on my helmet mounted cam, and I come onto my TGP, and see if I can lock one of these. Only the large targets can be locked. But the Kotar Range is south of us now based on the HSD, so let's turn south and check it out. Okay, I've got a diamond on the HSD, or correction, and helmet mounted cam pointing right at where the target's at. Give me a good visual reference on where to fly to. And now I'm direct for Kotar. Looks like my run-in heading now is 160, so I'm a little bit right of the line. So if I adjust now to the left some, it'll give me a good 180-degree heading running into Kotar. That is the run-in heading that we need to establish. So in at 180 heading, and then our base leg will be flown, or our upwind leg will be flown opposite of that, which would be 360. A couple other references. Also, there's a big city that's just northwest of Kotar. We'll be referencing that on our northbound leg. And then just on the south end of that city is a highway that runs east-west. That's the north end of the Kotar Range, which is the end of the range limit. We need to stay south of that. I'll spot that out when we get closer. All right, coming into the target area now. Let's see if we can lock up the center target. If I've got the middle section set, correction, the north, that's the middle set. Here's the south set. So if I zoom in and lock it, and then I got the TGP locked. I'm going to go to my mark point page. Brings up the TGP by default on the DED. I'm going to TMS up. I just created mark point 26 for this. Now I can reference this for bombing or even any other range operation. And if I hit the M select currently right now, it will make that my main steer point. So when I go out of the mark point page by return, the steer point 26 by default is up in my DED. The only thing I need to remember to do then is hit cursor 0 to center it back up on that. So I've got my target set. Line up the azimuth steering line. Looks like I'm just in time to get a release here. 3 seconds away. Pickle down. Fair release. Double check on the SMS page. I've gone from 24 to 22 on the releases. Back of the HSD, I'm still flying southbound. Now I can switch over to the TGP and watch the impact. As soon as it impacts, I'm going to start a right-hand turn and I'll go right into the event for the 30-degree dive bomb. Alright, there's the hit, pretty close to the target. I'm going to start a right-hand turn. 30-degree event calls for 10,800 foot of altitude. This turn right here at about 350 knots is going to be our upwind speed. We want to eventually have 450 knots on the dive in, but if we do the turn at the upper end and the dive in correctly, speed will take care of itself. Main thing is getting the initial speed established. So as I made the turn at 270, it's a little bit wide. I'm actually at 360 degrees now on the heading. I'm a little bit on the left of the center of the city. The big buildings there are pretty much the center of it. Over here is the east-west road that is the north end of the foul line. Over here, you can see my pointer is still pointing at my target that I want to drop on, and I want to get my altitude established. Sometimes it takes a turn, so a lot of times we'll do a dry run initially at Kotar just to get into the pattern, set up our spacing, set up our speeds. So we're going to do the first run as a dry run. Got my target there, start my turn in, pull down, and there's my target. And I like to practice switching from CCRP to CCIP, give me a cue on where to line up my pipper, and listen for the warning.
Altitude.
That's my warning. Now I got to pull off. If I pull off at the warning, I bottomed out at about 4,500 feet, which is above the foul line, which is 4,300 feet. So if you listen to the warning and pull right away, you'll be good. All right, so I'm back into the climb. I just did a easy climb here, not an escaping maneuver climb, but it should be a quick pop into the burner, in and out quick, just to get you going up. 20-degree climb out, and then back into the pattern. It's like a roller coaster ride. So now that the pattern's been established fairly well, I want to get my speed back up to 350, my altitude to 10.8. And if I did the turn correctly, I should be pointing right at about the middle of the city. Right about there, at about 360 plus or minus 5 degrees, you're doing good. If you're in too close, lean out a little bit. If you're in too far, lean in a little bit. But you should be able to see the range when you're straight and level. The range, your target should be right over your windowsill there. And I'm watching my altitude there, or my distance also on the bottom right corner. The distance on this leg calls for 2.1 miles and then a turn in. Sometimes if you want to go a little about to 2.3, gives you a little bit more time to think about it. And then into the base leg, back into the dive. We'll make this one another dry run. I also like to turn down the brightness of the HUD so I can see the target visually real good. Back into the climb, a little burner, chaff and flare, and then this time we'll go and climb out and get established into the pattern. Do a 30-degree release this time. Got to remember to go back over and switch it back to singles. So we're doing a quick little mini fence-in check here. I'm on my SMS page. I got the correct bomb set, the correct release profile set. Got my ALO set. My altitude's coming up. Speed's a little fast. If I pull some G's, it'll scuff the speed down. I was getting a little bit slack on the turn there. But I'm going to want 350 knots, 10,800 feet, aim for the middle of the city. And I actually got to pull the throttle back a little bit here. Don't want to get too fast. There's our target. Pretty close. I can actually see it in the TGP also. I can actually lock it up if I wanted to. And then I get reference to that target. I'm at 2.3 from the target. I'm going to turn in now. I'm going to go mil power, base. One is on base. I'm going to try to hold if I'm below the 10.8 a lot, so I need to climb back up and reestablish it. Right is about the time I get the target off to the right side there. I'm going to roll upside down. Should be about a 120-degree bank, which is upside down. Rolling into the target, put that target right in the center of the HUD, and switch to CCIP. I like to pull the throttle back just a little bit. Sit up so my track IR will give me a good center view on the pipper. Put the pipper on it, release, and one away.
Altitude.
Chaff and flare, a little bit of burner, back into the climb, 20 degrees up. As soon as I get established in that 20-degree climb, I want to go back right turn. Now I can look back over my shoulder and look for the hit. Pretty much mil power the whole way around, especially when we're heavy with fuel and arms. Still got 4 racks of BDUs on here. So it takes mil power to get up to speed and altitude. Roll back out towards the city. It's always good to have a visual reference up ahead. If not, reference your heading. So again, I'm shooting for 350 knots, 10,800. Visual check on my target again. Bottom right corner of the HUD, it shows 2.2. That's a good time to turn in now. Again, there's the northern foul line. I'm way inside of that. I want to hold this 10,008. This is the important part. Hold that 10.8 all the way through the turn. If you give up altitude here, you will run out of time on your release on the other end. Once you get in about halfway through the turn, about 3/4 way through the turn, pull in, target to the center of the HUD. One is in. Pipper. Put the pipper right on the target. Pickle. Sometimes I pickle and pull up to make sure it comes off. Missile step, go back over to CCRP mode, chaff and flare. A little bit of burner, establish a 20-degree climb, and then back into the turn. One more time with just the flight comms. One space. One's in.
Altitude. Altitude.
One's off, one away. Alright, so that's the 30-degree profile. Now for the 20-degree. One of the things that changes is our base altitude. Sometimes it takes a full maneuver to get back down to the base altitude. Should be 7,800. I'm pretty well established. I also have a new foul line of 3,800. I have a minimum release altitude of 4,500, so I'm going to change that quick on my ALO page. Alright, so that's set. Got my target still set. I'm almost out of the foul line. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this run-in. I'm kind of off a little bit, so I'm just going to plan to make it a dry run. So I'm still going to make my turn in, and one is in dry. And you can see the angle's a lot lower on this one, since it's a 20-degree. If I had my speed and altitude set correctly, I'd have the correct run-in closer to a 20-degree down, but I'm off, so one is off dry. Going to extend out a little bit past the release point before I start my turn. Just give you a little bit of extra time. In a real bombing scenario, as soon as you get that bomb off, you want to be climbing and turning at the same time. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to save you from eating the man pad. Alright, so I'm back in the turn. Now I need to get my speed and altitude established again. 350 knots for the base leg. Line up center of the city. $7,800, plus or minus 100 or 2. Got my speed established, my distance established. My turn in now is still the same, 2.1. Now that's lateral distance. Add another 1/10 or 2 for height above the target area. And it gives you just another minute to think. So I'm at 2.4 and turning in. One space. Start watching my target. Got to know when to roll upside down. Right about there. Roll in, I'm still at mill power, switching to CCIP. Line up on the target. And because I was long on the base, 2.4, you can see I'm real shallow on the dive. Might still be able to make it work. One is off, one away. Alright, next time with just the comms. This time I'll try to make my turn by 2.2. That'll give me a better angle in. One space. One is in.
Altitude. Altitude.
One's off, one away. One space. A little bit high, just dip my nose some, pull hard with the G. One is in. Switch to CCIP.
Altitude. Altitude.
One is off, one away. And that's it. Main thing is keeping situation awareness, know which way is north, which way is south. So if you do get messed up on the pattern at all, get yourself organized in the pattern first. It's okay to make a dry run if you need to, just to get established, keep the pattern safe. Even if you have to make an orbit and get into that racetrack pattern right hand turn, and even not even dive in for a release, just leave it up at altitude. Go around the pattern once, watch your HSD, watch your heading, get your speed established, spacing established, and then once you're set up on a good overhead pass, then go back into the pattern again for a good release. Once we're done on the final release, we're going to pull off the target and head straight south. And before I do that real quick, I'll quickly demonstrate the strafe run. It's done from 5,000 feet. So let me hook in real hard, drop us down to 5,000 feet. And the speed should be 400 knots on this base leg, or the downwind leg, and 450 knots in the run in. Of course, yeah, if you're really strafing bad guys, you want to be about as fast as you can be. There's two parallel targets over there. We're going to start shooting at the first target and run a bead of tracers all the way to the last target. So I'm going to pick the right side, and we'll switch from side to side so we get a good demonstration on all of them. Turn in is at 2 miles. One is in. Base, correction, one is base. One is in. My speed's slow, so I'm going to throw a little burner in here. Pop back to, stores page.
Altitude.
Press the air to ground button and it's strafe mode. And now I'm just going to pickle and hold, not pickle, the fire button and hold. And run tracers all the way up the targets from one to the end. One continuous press. So let's go around one more time and check that. And again, the strafe mode, if you go to your stores management page, OSP1, press the air to ground button. It'll switch you into gun mode. The other thing you could do is press and hold your uncage button. That'll put you into ground mode strafing also. I'm a little bit high. Turning in, I'm going to shoot the left targets this time. Put the center of the targeting right on the first target and pull and hold. And just pull up. And then off. Want his guns off. That's it. On the last strafe run then, that's when we're going to climb out, head south, and RTB. That's all.